It is my honor to introduce the city's mayor, Steve Lee.
Thank you, Jared. You're always so kind. Appreciate being here, and it's my distinct pleasure to wish all of you a good afternoon and welcome to each and every one of you. I want to say thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. Your efforts continually to improve Elk Grove and to support businesses is much appreciated because it helps the city coffers with the collection of taxes. So thank you very much, and we appreciate your efforts in doing that. To my fellow electeds who are here, thank you very much. And to the many Elk Grove community members and business leaders that are joining us or tuning in online with the online broadcast. As Elk Grove's mayor, I'm honored to speak to you today about the state of our city. As you may recall, I stood here before you at this very event last year and proclaimed Elk Grove as a city under construction. But while the reference may still hold true today, a shift has happened. In fact, if I had to boil it down into a single sentence, I'd say that we are a city with momentum. What does that mean? Webster's dictionary defines momentum as strength or force gained by motion by a series of events. To me, it means we are a city with strength that continues to grow as time passes. We're moving closer towards the opening of more civic amenities than anywhere else in this region. We are a city making headway on major projects in favor of new business opportunities. We're a city that's advancing changes in the way we address important social issues like equity and inclusion. 2019 is the year we step on the accelerator and move towards a brighter future. Many of the building projects that I mentioned last year are nearing completion. We are considering new projects and possibilities for our city. We're clearly not the Sacramento suburb we once were. The change should make us uneasy. It should make us feel proud and hopeful that our city is thriving. To quote the Lebanese American author Khalil Gibran, progress lies not in enhancing what is, but in advancing towards what will be. 2 months from now, the city will open the new aquatic center, and our partner agency, CSD, will operate under a management agreement. While it's true there have been delays on this project, the council and staff felt it was more important that the project gets built right rather than quickly. This new facility will deliver the city's first new public pool in more than a decade. As you may recall, WACR was opened in 2004. And this will serve the sport and recreational needs of the community. The project pairs the skills and strength of the city together with experience of the CSD to build and operate this new space. The Aquatic Center will offer 3 pools, including the largest, the competition pool, in Elk Grove. Other amenities will include a lazy river, a cafe, dual water slides, and space for spectators, parties, and just lounging around. I know a lot of kids and adults have been waiting a very long time for this facility to open, but the wait is nearly over. We'll host a grand opening celebration over the Memorial Day weekend. Speaking of grand openings, we will also be opening the new animal shelter this July for our 4-legged residents. This new facility, located in the city's southeast area, will increase community access to found pets while providing outdoor animal yards, kennels, veterinary services, and low-cost spay and neuter clinics for our residents. Historically, these services have not been provided by the city or local shelter, making residents drive considerable distances into Sacramento to look for a lost pet. Now, lost or stray animals will remain in the city to be found or adopted. The animal shelter features more than 21,000 square feet, with adoption kennels for 66 dogs and 56 cats, and a 3rd adoption kennel for other small animals. The city is in the process of hiring a veterinarian, technicians, supervisors, and other staff to operate the shelter. New partnership and collaboration with volunteers and local community groups such as the Friends of the Elk Grove Animal Shelter are helping to add more creature comfort and TLC for animals too. Please join me at the shelter's grand opening later this summer and at a new Oktoberfest event that will debut at the shelter this fall. And if all of this wasn't enough, there is one more city facility opening this year back at the Civic Center, the new Community Center. This facility will feature Elk Grove's first dedicated Veterans Hall, Veterans Grove space, and a new home for the Senior Center of Elk Grove. With the largest banquet hall in Elk Grove, the center will also offer space for big celebrations with seating for 500 guests. With the help of the Arts Commission, the center will feature a number of public art pieces and a dancing fountain that will add additional color and movement to the city's newest gathering place. Look for details about this opening a little later this spring. But getting to the aquatic center, the animal shelter, to school, work, and other places in the city or in the region is quite possibly one of the biggest challenges facing our community these days. Making traffic improvements and considering new transportation alternatives are some of the Council's top priorities for the future. To address these issues, we will need to consider new options and accept changes in how we travel as a community. One of the best examples of this kind of change can be seen in the northern roundabouts. There were many residents who did not support the development of the roundabouts on Sheldon, at Bradshaw, and Waterman Roads. Before the new design, traffic at these intersections during commute times in the morning and afternoon were a nightmare. I know because I drive through those all the time to my day job. And since the roundabouts have opened, it's been an easier, safer, and less stressful experience on most days. Our Public Works Department, they manage these projects as well as repairs and improvement along the Waterman Road. They have widened existing lanes, shoulders, and added new bike lanes between Bond and Sheldon roads, making an impact on our arterial routes is vital to addressing our future travel. Promoting alternatives to Elk Grove and the Laguna Boulevards of east and west travel is necessary to improve traffic flow. Now, new state grants funding will allow us to proceed with the Cameron Road Extension Project. This will improve drainage issues and provide the backbone infrastructure between Promenade Parkway and the Bighorn Boulevard for the Capital Southeast Corridor, which is a regional project to reduce traffic congestion and create an alternative route from Interstate 5 to Bills, which will bypass downtown Sacramento. Construction on this segment of the project could begin as early as late next year. One of the many results of the project will be traffic relief here in Elk Grove. Improving our traffic flow doesn't mean giving up our city's character and charm. This fall, our Public Works Department will begin making streetscape improvements on Grosvenor Street next to the Old Town Plaza. This work will improve parking and encourage new businesses, events, and visitors to explore historic downtown Elk Grove. Additional federal funding will allow us to complete street improvements on Elk Grove Boulevard between School Street to Waterman Road in 2020. Investments in our historic district is an important part of our vision for new entertainment, dining, and nightlife in the city. Restaurants and retail projects proposed for Road Street and the opening of Elk Grove's 5th craft brewery are positive indicators that for revitalization taking place in that area. Speaking of vision, a few weeks ago, my fellow council members and I participated in our biannual retreat. It was held over 2 days. These meetings gave us a chance to look at the big picture for policy and programs through a lens that takes into account our city's values, history, development, and regional responsibilities. We use these sessions to determine funding of project priorities for each budget year. As we move forward as a council, we have established a vision that prioritizes a superior quality of life for all that authentically builds upon the community's diversity and heritage to create safe, welcoming, and connected neighborhoods. We envision a variety of residential, educational, employment choices, and amenities that create a strong sense of place. Why is having a city vision statement and goals important? Because when we use these in tandem with the general plan, the city's blueprint for future development, we can work together to keep sight of our long-term needs and wants for our city. We want a vibrant community with a sensible economy filled with diverse businesses and amenities. We want a safe and resilient community. We must grow and maintain the physical health and stability of our city and foster a spirit of innovation and collaboration for regional partners. And we must aim to be a city where infrastructure that meets its current and future needs. Having a vision and goals provides clarity to the members of our organization, whether we are working internally or with other organizations. Like many homes and businesses, we are using technology to do more than we could do before. To continue its emphasis on public safety and crime prevention, our police department is instituting an intelligence-led policing model that this spring to provide for more timely data analysis that will allow the department to fight crime and address quality of life issues on a more immediate basis. In addition, the Real-Time Information Center will make greater use of existing and expanded videos to create safer, more effective police responses to calls for service. The Real-Time Information Center is expected to come online this summer. But Elk Grove's momentum isn't just driven by the projects coming out of City Hall. It's influenced by the community and local businesses. It's affected by all of you. Recent updates to the general plan anticipate where and how we want to grow. Through the general plan, we condition where others will live, how we will travel, where we will shop, work, play, and how we will address sustainability and healthy living. As projects are considered, their plans will be evaluated against the framework of the city's general plan, in addition to other local, state, and federal regulations. While the city initiates the development of civic projects like the ones I mentioned earlier, private enterprise submits plans to the city for review of those projects that they want to develop. The city has land use, design, permitting authority over these projects, but cannot dictate the location of a project. In most cases, an environmental impact report is generated to review potential issues like noise, traffic, lighting. And I offer this important clarification to counter some confusion on the city's authority on these kinds of projects. And now, because this is so important, I'm going to repeat this again. And I think that for those who are joining us online, I want you to take note of this. While the city initiates the development of civic projects like the ones I mentioned before, private enterprises submits plans to the city for review of those projects that they want to develop. The city has land use, design, and permitting authority over these projects, but cannot dictate the location of a project. In most cases, an environmental impact report is generated to review potential issues like noise, traffic, and lighting. And I offer this important clarification to counter some confusion on the city's authority on these kinds of projects. Case in point, many residents have expressed dissatisfaction with the location of the new hospital. However, the site was zoned for commercial use, and traffic plans mitigated the anticipated problems along Elk Grove Boulevard and Bruceville Road. Costco wanted to be at this location. They opened last September, as you can recall. And while tax reports are not yet available for their first quarter from the county, there is strong evidence to support a successful start with little to no traffic impact. And more new businesses are expected to open at the Ridge later on this year. Planning for businesses like Costco and retailers and businesses along the Elk Grove Boulevard corridor was anticipated, and the area was zoned for those uses, and it's working. Last year, I stood before you just as frustrated as any one of you with the lack of momentum at the so-called Go Small, which over time had become a very apt descriptor for a project that was half built and all but abandoned. While I'm disappointed that Howard Hughes Corporation shelved the project, there's some good news in all of this. The unsightly buildings are now down, and there is no longer the uncertainty that there was a year ago. Howard Hughes Corporation's decisions gives us a chance to reimagine this valuable property, which could be, and to make our preferences known to any new developers. And while that land remains privately owned and is zoned for a regional mall, it could be rezoned to allow for new development concepts that meet the needs of the community and could actually be built. The Wilton Rancheria Tribe, who purchased the property just north of the mall site, is in London distance hope and progress. The groundbreaking for the construction of this new gaming resort is expected to happen later on this year. So as long as I've lived in Elk Grove, and even before I joined the City Council, I've heard about the city's job to housing imbalance. Many of you members are aware of it. Many residents would agree that attracting new businesses with real living wages and professional career track is important to Elk Grove. I believe that the medical industry offers these kinds of opportunities while at the same time providing services that our residents need. Growing our medical industry is and has been a key economic development strategy of the council for many years. There has been much discussion recently about the educational and medical district proposed by California North State University on commercially zoned property at I-5 and Elk Grove Boulevard, which, as you've probably heard, includes a teaching hospital in its first phase. The project remains in the earliest stages of city review and has garnered no shortage of opinions and debate, which I think is very healthy. But there can be no denying that if completed, the project will add extensive jobs, capital investment, and tax revenue to our economy, and could be an economic engine for Elk Grove for decades to come. The same could be said for the Dignity Health Development District and Hospital project that was approved back in 2012. I want these kinds of jobs and these kinds of services in our community. Whatever the outcome of CNU's project, I think it's generating a healthy dialogue about what we need for our community. With a population expected to exceed over 200,000 in the next decade, we need jobs and good health care. We are fortunate to have businesses interested in bringing us both. And we are making significant progress on job growth. In fact, based on data presented to the City Council in January, over the last 3 years, the city has added or retained almost 7,000 jobs. And our job to housing ratio now sits close to 1.0. That's up from 0.86 in 2013. That means we're close to having one job per house in our city. And to keep this momentum going, we must fairly evaluate these kinds of development proposals, mitigate their impacts when and where it's needed, and generate a win-win situation for our community. Saying all of this does not mean I'm unsympathetic to the business owners in Stone Lake Landing or the residents in Stone Lake. As a strong advocate of the city's small business support program, I want businesses of all sizes to succeed in our city. CNU's tenants at Stone Lake Landing and the university would need to come to some sort of settlement privately if this project has any chance of moving forward. However, the city is prepared to assist any business in need of relocation with economic development services to retain their business in the city of Elk Grove. While projects like the hospital may generate disagreement amongst us at times, I believe that Elk Grove is home to many loving people that embrace improvement and celebrate our diversity. The American clergyman and writer Edward Everett Hale once said, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." Indeed, one of Elk Grove's defining characteristics is that we celebrate, in which we celebrate is our extraordinary diversity. Diversity of race, religion, ideas, lifestyle. But diversity in and of itself does not lead to inclusion. And merely celebrating our diversity is not enough. We must ensure that every aspect of our city is inclusive. Because not only then will we find lasting unity. Over the past year, our city has worked hard to identify and implement new ways to promote equity and inclusion for all. 9 city staff have joined GARE, a national network of government working to achieve racial equality and advance opportunities for all. Updates to the city's personnel rules and regulation have been made to incorporate recommendations from our diversity audit, and the city's hiring process has been changed to remove applicants' names throughout the recruitment process to counteract potential biases. Clearly, racial tension still remains a reality in our region. Actions and reactions to recent decisions in Sacramento and elsewhere have a profound effect on cities and police departments everywhere. The Elk Grove Police Department is hiring more officers to preserve and to protect our community, and we have to do more than ever before to recruit new and lateral officers who reflect the diversity of Elk Grove. Our police chief, he's formed a community advisory board that's assisting the department with developing strategies in community policing concepts that are generating a two-way dialogue and encouraging greater awareness and understanding. These internal changes are influencing our work with and for the community. We collaborate with CSD and community members to host Elk Grove's first Martin Luther King breakfast this year. And we came together as Elk Grove, as an Elk Grove delegation to participate in the region's March for the Dream event. Working with our Multicultural Committee, we hosted our 7th annual Multicultural Festival, launched our first Lunar New Year celebration, and marked the victory of light over darkness at the annual Festival of Lights for the 2nd year. There is no quick fix, but rather it's a culture we have to create and nurture. It would take some time, but we have momentum on our side. As I prepare to close today, I am proud to say that the state of our city is strong. As we open new facilities and address our traffic issue, expand our shopping and entertainment options, and continue making progress towards a more inclusive and equitable community, we will only get stronger. We've got momentum, and we're working together. We can keep moving forward towards a better Elk Grove for all of us. And if this speech has spelled in getting you excited for the progress that's happening in our city, perhaps this video from our public affairs team will. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this city. And God bless this great country. We call the United States of America.